we're just getting out of COVID, man, things have been heating up for you guys. And there is new Sunflower Dead coming as far as a full length, but you guys have been releasing some singles here and there, keeping fans in the loop, involved, and you guys have been on tour. So 2021's been a busy year for you.
Yeah, it's been a really busy year, and thankfully it's been busy,
yes.
Because
yes.
it's been like, after the last year and a half, it's just we're just happy to be rocking out.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys have been touring everywhere. You've been out with the Lonely Ones. You've been out with Otherwise, and especially Otherwise, man. Talk about a hell of a band to go out with. How have the crowds been? Because with a lot of shows that I've been to, it's been hit and miss as far as crowd size.
We noticed the same thing. So, like, I can say the 28 shows we did, there wasn't one bad show.
Nice.
But, some shows there was like 50 people, and some shows there was 500 people, and everything in between. So it was like, but overall, I just kind of took the attitude of like, times are crazy, people are scared, finances are tough. So we just like whoever was there, we gave them a show, and we ended up doing phenomenal with the Lonely Ones, with Otherwise, with the festivals we did. So it was great.
Yeah, I mean, the crowds, though, man, especially Otherwise fans, are so freaking diehard, dude. How have the crowds been? Because there's nothing like a live show. And these live shows, this is what rock fans need, is concerts, especially with a band like Sunflower Dead. I saw you guys live in Kokomo, Indiana, way back, like 2013 or 14, I think. I want to say you were with, like, Power Man 5000 or maybe. I can't remember what show it was, but you guys always bring it live. And then to go out with a band like Otherwise, man, those crowds had to have been crazy, man. Even the shows where there was like 50, 60 people, those 50, 60 people sometimes can be louder than 500 people.
I mean, it was awesome. We were shocked, like, how much merch we were selling.
Nice.
Because we always do good at merch, but it was like we did amazing at merch. I really ran out of most of it in 5 weeks.
Oh,
it was
nice.
Pretty exciting. But, the fans are great. I mean, you can tell, like, I guess there's overall different vibe.
Yeah.
Most of the bands playing, happy to be back on stage. The fans happy to be back at the shows. Fans happy to be supporting the bands and vice versa. So it seems almost like a huge reset in the rock and metal community. I don't know what it's like in other forms of art, but from the shows we played, everybody is super excited. And I know I, for one, am not taking it for granted. I'm pretty much doing one show at a time from now on, because who the hell knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
This is the one thing that none of us thought was ever going to go away. We're like, we're always going to have concerts. And then, sometimes you would take it for granted. You're like, man, that venue's always going to be there, or concerts are always going to. Then it wasn't fucking there. And so,
it's not there.
Yeah. And
it's not there.
Now that it's back and it's here again, as far as the concerts themselves, outside of some COVID restrictions, rules here and there, it's almost like no time went by, because we're right back at it. Fans are into it. Bands are into it. And you guys have been keeping fans involved, because even though there's it's a minute till March of the Leper comes out, you guys have 2 new songs out. You guys are releasing music, The Underneath and Falling Down. I mean, they're both heavy as hell, but they are also very different. They both have their own identity. One is just super heavy in your face. The other one would fit really good on like Octane, Liquid Met, stuff like that. They're very different, but very heavy at the same time. Yeah,
it would be nice if they would take a chance and play us for once, because they've never been on board with us, and hopefully one day they will, because we love those stations and we love to be a part of it.
We'll make it happen. Happen. Yeah. I don't know what we have to do. It's going to happen, though. So.
Right on. We've been doing a different plan on this album. Instead of releasing like a radio single and a video and then going to radio and doing it like the old-fashioned way, we're actually not releasing the quote-unquote radio single until the 5th single we're releasing.
Really?
We're releasing like the cool stuff first, because I really didn't want to have people just focus on songs that could possibly be on the radio and then not listen to the record. Sometimes people don't get beyond those singles. So we're like, no, let's put out the cool stuff first and really build it up and pique interest. And then the day the record comes out on March 4th, 2022, we're releasing the actual radio single, and then that comes out with a full video. But you're getting 4 songs and videos before we even get to that point.
That's a good way to do it, because it's that way with me a lot of times just with reviewing albums. A lot of times, bands will release like the lead single super early. Then when I get a record to review, I'm like, I go straight to that song because I know it already. And it's like sometimes the songs that are the best songs on the record aren't the radio single. It's the ones tucked down deep in like the middle of the record that end up being my favorite songs. So that's a really cool way to do it.
And since we feel that all 9 tracks, there's 10 pieces of music, but there's 9 tracks on the album. Every one of them stands alone as its own pillar holding up what March of the Leper is. And it's the songs, it's just very focused, and it's the best record we've done, and takes everything we've learned from the past 2 records and touring and being in the industry, and we just turned it up as far as we could, and it's a really strong record. So we're just going to keep releasing songs and videos and stuff even after the record's out, because we want people to hear all the stuff. And that's also why I put out the album cover, the cover art, a year before the record came out. I did that on purpose so people would see it over and over again on our social media and understand that the art means just as much as the music and the lyrics and everything else. And I really wanted to ingrain that, as opposed to just being like something you glanced at real quick when you downloaded it on iTunes or streamed it on Spotify or something,
Well, and you mentioned the album art, dude. The album art's really different than the last couple records. It's not... It almost looks like a death metal album cover almost. It's very, very different. I didn't realize it was your album when I saw it on social media. When you guys first put it out, I was like, oh, cool. Oh, wait, that's Sunflower Dead? It's such a different approach. Was that kind of, you wanted to do something different with it, or was it, that's just kind of what you were inspired by and what ended up coming out when you got somebody to put it together?
Well, we actually used the same artist that we used on our debut album's vinyl and our second album cover, the rock and roll over Kiss homage cover we did. It's the same artist. His name is Scott Monster Man Jackson. But this time, I went in with a complete idea. I basically gave him an outline of everything I wanted in this album cover and all the things. And I'm not going to tell people what they are, but in the album cover, there's all these Easter eggs and to lyrics of our other songs and lyrics on this album and things we've done and things that are going on. And I outlined all these things that needed to be in there. I told him, color scheme what I wanted. And he went away for about 6 months and he came back with that. And I was like, that is perfect, exactly what I wanted. And he painted it, and it's a killer. Which kind of leads into the first visualizer video we did for The Underneath. Really what I wanted to do originally was just bring the album cover to life in that visualizer. To, again, exploit that album cover and to show people all the things that are going on in the album cover. And then the guy that did the video, Rob Cisneros, has actually done all our visualizers so far. He just really brought it to life. But if you focus on stuff, you can, and our songs, you can start picking out, oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. And it's a really cool album cover. That's why I released it so early. That's why the merch is already out with the album cover on it, and it's been selling. And posters are out and they're selling. People want it because to me it's just as important as the music. Yeah,
and fans are freaking falling in love with everything, man. One thing that I thought was really cool is somewhere along the line, you guys ditched the makeup that you guys were wearing for a while. At what point did you guys decide to do that, and what was the reason behind getting rid of it and just having the natural look?
After the second album, It's Time to Get Weird, I started, while we were touring that record, I started having a feeling like, I don't think people are seeing past the image. I don't think there are certain people. I don't think certain people are actually hearing what Jabu and I have to offer, musically, and, him on guitar and artistically what I have to offer. So I was like, maybe we should not do the imagery, which is a bummer because I actually love that stuff. I love being theatrical. Yeah. It's really cool. But I kind of felt like we were turning a page musically of where we were going to go, and we're like, you know what, let's take it off, strip it, down and just let the music be, you know, in the forefront. And that's what we did on our third album, the Coma record.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like the right thing to do, and we have no regrets. And now with March of the Leper, I'm letting the imagery be in the artwork and all that, and then letting the music speak for itself. And then, you know, we're not going back to the makeup, but we have no problem with what we did with the makeup. We love it. We stand behind it. It was awesome. So whenever somebody says, "Oh, I really like that version of Sunflower Dead," I'm always like, "Thank you so much for liking that." Like, I'm not offended. Like, "Oh, you don't like what we do now," or "You like this version better." I'm always like, well, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't like the makeup. I like you now." I'm like, "Well, I like the makeup. I thought it was cool as hell." So like, I'm cool with all of it. But yeah, where we are now, it's all about the music being the forefront, and because I think Jabu and I just have a lot to offer. And people need to focus on that are going to listen to it.
Yeah, and the imagery is one reason that I latched on with It's Time to Get Weird and like really like started paying attention because it caught my attention. I listened to the music. I'm like, this is really good. And then you threw the accordion in on top of it.
Right.
I'm like, this is the most badass thing I've ever seen and heard. This is great. That I got to see it live. But I also, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what Kiss did in the 80s, where they took the makeup off, switched it up, focused on the music, and it was a different era. You know, they still loved that. Maybe they brought it back down the road, but that era was that era for what it was, and that was some of the best music that they ever did at the same time.
Definitely. They were legit songs at that time. You know, not that the makeup songs weren't great, but it was more about the show. Now, Kiss also was the hugest when they had their makeup and stuff, so that's why they came back to it. For us, it's just like a growing thing, and we're actually doing better now, so it's really cool. But again, I think it's about each artist individually finding out what's the truest version of themselves, and I think where we are now is the truest because, like I said, you know, even though we stripped everything down on Como, on this album, you know, with the album artwork and all that stuff, we're able to bring back the imagery on the outside of the music, but how we look and all that is straight up and stripped down. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Yeah,
and it's, you know, if the music is good, the music is good. It doesn't matter if there's makeup, any of that stuff. The music is the music, and the art is the art, and it's still there. You know, and so I'm really interested in seeing what the rest of this record sounds like because I fucking love the two songs that I've heard so far. I was rocking out through town with the windows down with those cranked up earlier today. So everybody in Anderson, Indiana heard these new songs. So
that's awesome. good for Anderson.
That's Indiana. Right, exactly. They need metal here. It's a country town.
That's awesome.
So
on October 8th, we're releasing the third single with a visualizer video, and that will be our cover of In Excess's Never Tear Us Apart.
Nice.
We completely rewrote the song because obviously, and we're not going to do like a sappy love song. Even though I absolutely love the song, you know, we also aren't going to just do a love song. So we completely rewrote it, put it in a minor key. I put accordion on it. And it was just dark and heavy and sexy and just really cool. And I'm looking forward to people hearing it in a couple weeks.
I love that. And that's what you need to do with the cover. It doesn't make any sense to do a cover and have it sound exactly like the original did. You need to recreate it, make it your own, and put a spin on it, you know, like Korn did with Word Up and all that. Sure. Like, that's what you need to do, and that's what I love. So I'm fucking pumped about that, man. And you guys have more dates coming up. You know, you're going to be with Smile Empty Soul for a while. Like, a while. You go out in the fall, and you guys are doing some dates in early 2022 with them, I believe, as well. There's a show with Gemini Syndrome and Outliers as well, I think. So
we do, yes. We have 2 tours with Smile Empty Soul, and then we had that one off with Gemini Syndrome and Outlier. And then we're about to announce a third tour. We're going to do about 2 weeks in January with a band. We're waiting on them to announce it.
Nice.
And then I would assume once the record's out, there'll hopefully be more and more tours and bigger tours, and we're just going to be out there crushing it and spreading the word. And, you know, we're going to be very, very busy and happy to be so after the last year and a half.
Yes, absolutely.